And now, Lifestyles Unlimited presents the Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I'm Mike Harrison, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. I want to thank you for joining me today. A few weeks back, my wife and I spent an evening out with some very dear friends of ours, celebrating a friend's birthday. There's about 12 of us in total, 6 couples. All of these couples you would classify as above average, high W-2 income earners. This group of folks is some devout 401k investors. These are people that pay extra on their home mortgage. I used to be that guy. I'm not that guy anymore. Really, I'm the black sheep out of the group. They're we'll call them the conventional group, and just call me the black sheep, if you will. They pay quite a bit of income tax. I do not. In fact, I got some money back this year for last year's income tax, so that was a nice feeling. They're at the mercy of Wall Street. I'm not. They believe real estate investing is complicated and risky. I do not at all. That's completely opposite of what real estate investing is for me. They believe real estate investing success takes years and years and years and decades, just like 401k investing. If you want to call it investing, it's really saving, but they're two completely different items, different processes. I don't believe real estate investment success takes years at all. It's rather immediate if you set the investment up properly. Their goal is to save a huge pile of money and then retire and live off of that pile of money. My goal is to create a large amount of monthly cash flow and then live off of that monthly cash flow and enjoy financial freedom month in and month out. My friends all live a life of order and predictability. My life is somewhat chaotic. I'm partial order, partial chaos, purposely. I like it that way. You see, nothing upsets my friends more than unpredictability, more than fluctuations in the stock market. These people are business owners, they're pilots, they're CFOs, they're venture capitalists, investment managers. One of them is actually a high-end realtor, sells some very, very nice, very expensive homes, very successful, does a great job. I live my life on the line between order and chaos, and that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about order and chaos within the realm of real estate investing, within the realm of getting out of your comfort zone, within the realm of discovering new endeavors. But if chaos is on the left and order is on the right, then where I'm standing, I've got a leg in both of those. It's really a 50-50 split. But back to that saying, you'll never grow unless you get out of your comfort zone. There are a gazillion quotes out there all around that. However, those words were said to me just like that. You'll never really grow unless you get out of your comfort zone. I can hear the gentleman saying it to me now. Harrison, you will never really grow unless you get out of your comfort zone. And they were said to me when I was in my early 20s by a man that was very successful. He was a home builder, a man I respected greatly and still respect. He's no longer with us, but still respect just his wisdom and how he ran his life. But looking back, I thought what was meant for me with that quote was, keep in mind, it was a 20-something-year-old mind here, but what I heard was travel to exotic locales, try unique foods, listen to different music, read different items in different endeavors, look at different just when you travel, get off the beaten path. And I do that all the time. Let's go find something that's not, quote unquote, in the book and rent a car and hit those areas. All of those things I did. But really, what this person was telling me was so much greater than that. It wasn't just about the exotic food or the exotic vacations or travels. And it came back to me many years later. It was in a Lifestyles Unlimited, the Financial Freedom Seminar. This was in 2013. That's 16 hours. If you don't know what it is, it's 16 hours of literal financial education on how to invest in real estate and why investing in real estate works. But above and beyond that there is a lot of discussion on mindset, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But what triggered that initial conversation, that original conversation that I had back in my 20s was what Dale Walmsley, there was a couple of things he said during this seminar, and it took me back to that time. And one of the first things Dale Walmsley says is, not everyone wants to be a millionaire. And the first time I heard that, I thought, what, are you kidding? Everybody wants to be a millionaire. Raise your hand if you want to be a millionaire. I can see you out there now. You're all raising your hand, but that's taking that statement at face value. What he's really saying is not everyone wants to do what it takes to be a millionaire, to take on the education, the endeavors, the life change, the ability to look at situations differently. That's what Dale was saying when he says not everyone wants to be a millionaire, because a lot of people just don't want to go through the trouble or the hassle to change their life and try new endeavors and take on new education and look at something differently. Flat out, I would say the majority of people just don't want to do that. So yes, not everyone wants to be a millionaire. And then the other thing Dale said was, he said, what gets in the way of a great life, a good life? Now, when you look at that statement, what does that mean? Well, it's talking about complacency, right? A lot of people just don't like change. They don't want to get out of their comfort zone. They like the fact that the alarm goes off at a certain time Monday morning, and they wake up and it takes them 15 minutes to get changed and 30 minutes to shower, and then they get in the car and they turn the car, and it always starts because it's a fairly new car, and it takes them 37 minutes to get to the office. And then when they get to the office, they pour a cup of coffee. They like routine. People don't want to give up the good life for the great life. I'm Mike Harrison. We're having a discussion today on order versus chaos. And my belief is that you need a little bit of both in your life. Too much of any one is not good. Too much order is predictability, and you're in a comfort zone, and you're not growing, and you're not getting ahead, and it's the same every day. Whereas chaos is freedom. Chaos is a bit of unpredictability. It's the unknown. So for the remainder of the show, really, I want to frame it within a question. I want to ask you this. What are you more afraid of, working until you die or investing in real estate? Think about that. But let me phrase it a different way as we dig into this. Do you fear chaos and disorder more than you fear the status quo, which I'm going to call that safety and mediocrity? For most people, real estate investing is the unknown. It's the chaos and disorder. They don't know what it is. All they know is that they've heard terrible stories because people love to climb over others, literally jump over somebody to tell you about their sister's boyfriend's brother's cousin who had a bad investing experience in real estate, and therefore you should never invest in real estate. Real estate investing is the unknown. Every investment is unique. Even when I do the math and I put something together and I go, this looks like a great deal, there's still a little bit of that unknown. But what is that? That's opportunity. When you start saying, what if, that's opportunity. What if this house actually appraises for more than we think it's worth? What if we can actually rent it for an additional $100 a month than what we have pinned here because we made it such a nice product? That's what it is. It's the opportunity. It's the investing. It's the risk, but it is a bit of chaos. Now, the status quo, that's stability. That's order. That's predictability. That's your 9-to-5 job, Monday through Friday. That's paying off the house. Stability, order. I have the paid off house. What's the big argument out there is whenever you throw it out back to the guy saying, well, I can make so much money if I use this instead of paying the house off, if I put it here. And they say, well, there is something that can't be quantified, and that's that percentage of just a good feeling within your heart knowing that your house is paid off. So anyway, that's the stability. That's the order. The 401 paycheck deduction month in and month out, where they take whatever you set up, 10%, 15%, 20%, automatically comes out of your check. You don't even get to bring it home because they don't want you to bring it home because you might do something with it that you enjoy. So instead, it's the automatic deduction, automatic investing, predictability, and order. Savings accounts, predictability, and order. When you save, what happens to the opportunity side of it? Well, the opportunity, it takes, you have to add that time quotient to it. The time maximizes. The only way you get opportunity to pay your house off is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And then the opportunity looks like this. When I pay for, take a car, you have a 5-year car note. Well, when the car is paid off, then we can do this. Why can we do that? Because we have that extra $400 a month or $500 a month. And then within that predictability and order, you get, well, if I get a bonus this year, we can do blank. Again, predictability and order. Or listen to this one. Once the house is paid off, then we'll have enough money to whatever. But people are doing that trade-off all the time. They're adding that time factor. They're maximizing that time factor because they would rather live in order and predictability than to add any sort of chaos to their life. Any of it. And if you missed my first segment earlier, I was talking about that. I was saying, what are you more afraid of, working until you die or investing in real estate? Do you prefer order over chaos? It's okay. The majority of people out there choose order. I chose order for years and years and years. Order is go to school, get good grades, and you want to get the good grades because the predictability. If you have the good grades, then you can get into college, right? And if you're smart enough to get through college and get that degree, then you can get a great job. Predictability, right? Predictability and order. And then once you have that job, what do? Feed the 401k for 40 plus years. Yes, it is 40 years. The 30 year is gone. It is 40 years. And then what do? It's all laid out for you. You retire, you live frugally, and then you die. That's order. That's the plan. Friends, I prefer a bit of order in my life, and I prefer a bit of chaos in my life. Chaos is freedom. Chaos is the unknown. And when I look at real estate investing, when I explain it to some people, when someone asks me about it, and they're not necessarily, well, maybe they're serious about it, but I do get asked a lot of times, but because there's so much order and predictability, and this has just been ingrained in us since we were young, the conventional wisdom world, sometimes I feel like I'm explaining calculus to my dog. I really do. People refuse to believe. When you sit someone down and you show them mathematically how they can buy a house with zero down, and yes, those deals are out there. They're fewer than they used to be, but occasionally you'll come across. Or how you can buy a house with $8,000 and make an $88,000 equity capture in that product. And I saw that just literally 6 weeks ago, I believe. That people, it's too good to be true. They don't believe it. Or invest in an apartment community. I just had a gentleman on the show 2 weeks ago, and he was talking how in one of his apartment deals, he returned 275% to the investor. You gave him $100,000. He put it into this property, this asset, a real estate asset. He fixed everything. He added good management. He made it a great, functional, safe place to live. He improved the metrics of the business, and that's what it is. And then he told his investors, thank you. Here's your $100,000 back. Oh, and by the way, here's an additional $275,000. That's what a 275% return looks like on a $100,000 investment. Oh, by the way, in 3 years, he did this. And this isn't just random. This is happening all the time. But when I explain that to somebody, they don't believe it because there's chaos. Could you predict the 275% return going into the deal? Probably not, because you're doing a conservative pro forma analysis. I've always said you don't necessarily predict the home runs. I mean, they happen, but you're predicting if we do this, the single or the double, to continue on with the baseball analogy. But again, that's chaos. And people in the conventional world, either they don't want to jump into it, they don't want any part of it, they don't believe it, it's too good to be true. Again, it's explaining calculus to my dog. And I'm not saying it's bad, but some people are so ingrained and they're so used to the conventional predictability, that order side, that they don't want to step their foot into the other side. So back to what Dale Walmsley said. What gets in the way of a great life? a good life, a life of order? Well, I make enough to pay the bills, and I make enough to have a little bit extra each and every month, and I make enough to buy a new car every 5 or 6 years. Predictability and order, and some people just don't want to get out of that zone. My name is Mike Harrison. We'll continue this discussion on the other side. You're listening to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Got questions? Call Lifestyles Unlimited at 855-497-4335. The Real Estate Investor Radio Show continues next.
Stop waiting. Stop sitting around. Stop procrastinating. This is your time. Make it happen. Do it now. When's the best time? Now. People go, well, I don't know. It's going to crash. It's going to be better next year. I've got to listen to 4 more classes. I love guys come up to me all the time. You know, I've been listening to you on the radio for 8 years now, right? I go, and you're not rich yet? Well, really, I'm thinking about joining next month. Do it now.
Learn the skills you need to retire with real estate in 5 years or less. Do it now. Register for the Lifestyles Unlimited free online workshop, lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com.
Welcome back to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show. I'm Mike Harrison, and as always, we're working on your financial freedom. If you have any questions or comments about the content of today's show or anything you'd like to know about real estate investing, Lifestyles Unlimited, how to get started, please send me an email. I do respond personally to each and every email I get. And my email address is askmike@luinc.com, askmike@luinc.com. If you'd like to see how we make money 5 ways on a single-family property and 6 ways on a multifamily property. If you're interested in investing in real estate and you just don't know where to start, I invite you to attend our free workshop. It's online. You can find that at freeworkshoplivestream.com, freeworkshoplivestream.com. You can tune in from the comfort of your home. It's not a video. It is an interactive live stream of what we do, how we run our business, what makes us successful, and what makes real estate investing work. So I do invite you to check that out. So we're talking about chaos versus order in your life. And my argument is you need a little bit of both, okay? A lot of any one thing is too much. I mean, God forbid you have total chaos in your life where everything is just crazy. You don't know if your car is going to start or not. You don't know if your utilities are going to get cut off or not. Your job situation's not a good situation. Maybe your health situation isn't good. Too much chaos is bad, okay? I'm not saying go crazy, but I'm saying that unknown side, which the unknown is opportunity, okay? The unknown is opportunity. You need to have a little bit of chaos, a little bit of unpredictability. You need to get out of your comfort zone to get ahead. That's how you create massive wealth. That's how you create massive success, is not doing the same old predictable routine. Why do I say this? Because the most successful people I have ever known in my life, when I look back, knowing what I know now, the most successful people I have ever known and met in my life left their comfort zone of order. They left the predictable. They stepped into chaos to pursue a better life, to pursue the unknown. And in doing so, they succeeded immensely. They created great wealth along the way. If you don't know who Jordan Peterson is, he's an author and a psychologist. I invite you to check out his book, 12 Rules for Life. He has a great discussion. In fact, it's a complete chapter on order versus chaos. And he makes that argument why you need to add an amount of chaos in order to grow. And again, not total chaos. That's bad. And you don't want total order either. That's bad. You just need some chaos. Now, what happens? Chaos leads to order, okay? When I purchased my first rental property within Lifestyles Unlimited model, one, it took me 6 months, okay? I was not just ready, fire, aim guy. I came in and it took me a while to load the gun, put it that way. And I should have been a lot quicker on what I did. But once I finally purchased that house, I almost didn't. That house was beat. And I believe many of you have heard me talk about it before, but it was a house where the father had the great idea to co-sign on the mortgage with the son who was going to college, and then the son was going to rent it out to a couple of roommates. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, by the time I came into it, the house was about to go into foreclosure, okay? And it was destroyed. The AC was gone. The hot water heater was gone. There was literally walking paths cut through walls so that, God forbid you have to enter a bedroom to get to the bathroom in the back, when we can just cut this wall, cut a giant hole, and walk through the wall straight to the bathroom, right? But anyway, what could go wrong? But I purchased that house, but trust me, I was knee-deep in chaos. Knee-deep. My mind was racing, but I had some order. I had a couple of people holding my hand. I had Lifestyles right there. I'd get on the phone, and I'd talk to Sam, and Sam, I'm not buying this house. And he'd go over the math. Harrison, this house makes total sense. This is going to be a great first rental home for you. You're going to get to go through the process. Also had a fantastic GC. Blake was right there, and he's got his hand on my shoulder, and he's like, hey, little buddy, this is going to be fine. And so he was that order. He was the stability, and I was in the chaos, okay? So, but once I got through that property and made it a great property and put a great resident in it, and the neighbor comes out and tears in his eyes, thanks me for doing what I did, what a great feeling, then I went on to buy 11 more properties. Now, each time the routine got better for me. It got easier for me. The predictability side came I could predict it a lot better, right? When you do something 3 times, 5 times, 7 times, 10 times, you get better at it. And when you're getting better at it, you're adding that order, that stability. Was there still a little bit of chaos? Sure. It's an investment, okay? We're buying this house. My best analysis says it needs this much rehab, and then you quantify that mathematically. It needs this many thousands of dollars to fix it, but there's always that little bit of, well, what if this goes wrong? And what about that? Or did you account for this? Or did you check that? And so there's that chaos. And then will it rent for, I always had that, will it rent for what I believe it'll rent for? And the analysis has never been wrong. It's always rented for the way we look at it, and we do our analysis. And I used a tool called Quest. It was always right on because it's using factual data. But in my mind, I still had that little bit of chaos. So let's think of a roadmap, right? A roadmap is the known. And let's say there's a road well-traveled to a well-known city. People have done this trip hundreds and hundreds of times, and everything's mapped out. The map is actually correct. You know what chaos is? Chaos is an incorrect map, okay? But we're imagining an actual road map, and it's correct. And you drive on this road, and it's at this rate of speed, and it's going to take you this amount of time to get to the city. That's order, okay? That's order. But let's say beyond the city, you're looking at the map, and there's nothing there. Nothing is filled in. What do you know about that? You don't. You can ask people, but everything is basically hearsay. Well, I've heard this, or I think this, and you travel. Let's say you want to be the first one to go beyond the city into this great unknown. That's chaos. But if you map it out and your map is accurate and you send that map back to others, you have added order to their life because there's the predictability. They'll say, well, you went further and you went into this area and you mapped it out this number of miles, and here's what's on the map, and here's the landmarks, and here's the topography, and this is what you can expect. You just took chaos and created order. But what is that? Chaos really is, it's freedom. It's the freedom of the unknown. And order is the known. Order can be restrictive. It can be absolutely be restrictive. If you have totalitarianism where everything is a law that this must be run a certain way and it's very harsh, and then that's total order. So too much order absolutely can be bad, but chaos is that freedom. It's the unknown. So you can take within chaos, you can embrace chaos, and then once you understand what you're doing, you can add that order in your life. So I want to ask you again, what are you more afraid of? Working until you die or investing in real estate? If you have any questions about Lifestyles Unlimited, how to get started, real estate investing, anything whatsoever, please send me an email, and I do appreciate emails from our listeners. My email address is askmike@luinc.com, askmike@luinc.com. I would like to take a moment and talk about our Wealth and Passive Income Expo and Masters Tour. The dates have been set, and it's going to be February 15th through February 18th, 2023 in Irving, Texas. And if you don't know where Irving, Texas is, it's basically in between Fort Worth and South Lake. On the north side, next to the airport, it kind of cheats toward the Dallas side, but very convenient to get to, and that's where we're going to have our Wealth and Passive Income Expo and our Masters Tour. I tell you about it now. I don't think passes are on sale yet, but that Masters Tour side of the Expo will sell out quickly. Now, what is the Masters Tour? The Masters Tour is where they will have several buses, and you'll get to go on a bus tour with fellow investors, fellow passives. There'll also be a couple of mentors, multifamily mentors, on the bus as well to explain what we're doing and explain the properties that we're visiting. But you'll go visit various apartment communities that are actually owned and purchased by our lead investors here at Lifestyles Unlimited. You'll meet those lead investors. You'll meet some passives that are in the property. But literally, you will look at the business, okay? You will look at where the property was, how the property's been positioned, the upgrades made to the property, why the upgrades been made to the property, the plans for the property, and the returns of the property. What are the passive investors getting paid back as a return for their investment? So it's really great. If you've never been on a Masters Tour, I highly recommend it. You can get more info at wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com. That's wealthandpassiveincomeexpo.com. So today I'm talking about the importance of having a little bit of chaos in your life and a little bit of order. And the way I position myself is I like to have one leg in chaos and one leg in order. Now, chaos, I'm not saying I want craziness in my life, but chaos, really what I mean by that is I'm a real estate investor. There's a bit of chaos to that, but you can tame chaos once you know what you're doing, once you understand a plan, once you have a strategy, and you can create a little bit of order in it. But you have to embrace that unknown. You have to get out of your comfort zone to get ahead, to succeed. I'll give you a couple of examples. I've known 2 billionaires, B with a B, in my life. Known 2 of them. And I'm not just saying I shook someone's hand that was a billionaire. I knew these people. One of them was a good friend of mine's father. Incredibly gracious, wise, just a really, really good man. The other, and I've worked for both of these gentlemen at points in my life, but the other was the owner of a company that he started. I worked many years for him, for this company, and it was a distribution company. And that gentleman was never so detached that you couldn't pick up a phone and call him. When you had lunch with him, it was hamburgers, and if it was later in the evening, it was probably a beer or 2, and that's it. But these men were very gracious. What did they have in common? I'll tell you this right off the bat. You wouldn't know they were billionaires. That was the first thing that didn't stand out, right? I want to say that's the first thing that would stand out. The fact is they're just normal, everyday people. Both of these men stayed in their neighborhood home for many, many years. Did they fix their homes up? Yes, absolutely they did. But they stayed in their original neighborhood, okay? Most of y'all are thinking billionaires. You're thinking Jerry Jones, private jet, yacht. That was not who these men were. They both drove modest cars. One of them drove a Caprice Classic, and the other one drove a 3-year-old Jeep Grand Cherokee. Both were givers of their time, their resources, their advice, their wisdom. Both were industry leaders. They went places where others did not. They had competition. They just did things different than their competition. They did things that their competition dared not do. They went on new paths, new endeavors. They added what in their life? A little bit of chaos. They were never afraid to try a new method or a new system or take on a new project. They added chaos to their life. And once they conquered a new project or a new initiative, that's basically order was created, they were already moving on to the next deal, the next initiative. Neither one of these men was afraid to reinvent themselves. They were always getting out of their comfort zone. They weren't letting a good life get in the way of a great life. They had drive, they had energy, they had passion, and yes, they would move from order to chaos, establish order, and then move to chaos again and repeat. And I say that, I tell you that to tell you this. Real estate investing is much the same. It is much the same. What did I do? I left order and added chaos as soon as I abandoned the conventional save your way to retirement 401k plan that was laid out for me. As soon as I walked from that, what did I do? I added a little bit of chaos. And to tell you the truth, at the time, my wife wasn't 100% happy with what we were doing. What are you doing? Honey, we're going to invest in real estate. We're going to buy rental properties. Yes, it was a change for her. Why? Because it's a little bit of the unknown. Okay? It was a little bit of the unknown at the time. Now, looking back, yeah, it was absolutely the right move. But when you're there at that moment in time and you just put several $1,000s into a deal that you've been taught is going to be fine, you've been told it's going to be fine, you've seen others do the same thing and they've had success, you've heard about others, you've talked to a lot of people, you're all told everything's going to be fine, but it's your money that's on the table, it's your reputation that's on the table. Is it going to be fine? There's always that little voice. It should be fine. That's chaos. And the opposite of that is order is the known. Order is, it's the Monday through Friday. It's the 9 to 5. It's the expected reliable paycheck. It's the stable marriage. It's a calendar. It's a clock. It's a predictability. And chaos is exactly the opposite of that. It's freedom. It's the unknown. It's a sudden accident. It's an unexpected change. It's getting fired from the W-2 job. It's a sudden layoff. It's a stock market crash. It's an illness. It's a divorce. But also, chaos is endless potential. And that's why I embrace it. It's because of that chaos that I argue we need a little bit of that in our life. We do. When I look at investing in a multifamily property, what do they always say? Never invest more than you can afford to lose. And that's true. But what does that plant in the back of your mind? Now, some people right there, they're done. They just can't make the next step. They just can't act. They can't take action because in the back of their mind, never invest more than you can lose is, well, hey, there's a bit of unpredictability in this deal. I'm leaving this world of order, this realm of order and predictability, and I'm stepping a little bit into chaos. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a lot of people that just can't move from that side. And I've done an entire show on 6 or 8 steps to actually begin investing in real estate. And that last step is always take action. Actually, it's the second to last step. The last step is rinse and repeat. But I'm telling you, there's people that have taken the education, they've gone down the road, they've been presented the opportunity, and they just can't pull the trigger. Why? Because they're having to embrace a bit of chaos, and they just don't want to do it. And I'll look at deals. And I'll say, this particular investment is expected to cash flow in year 2 at 5%. But what happens? We have to get to year 2 to see what it is cash flowing. Many times it's much better. Sometimes it's a little less. Usually it's right around what's predicted, that 5%, because we do our homework. So again, I'll ask you, what are you more afraid of? Working until you die or investing in real estate? Do you prefer order over chaos? Are you that person that just can't take that step? Because what I want to convey to you today, if you wish to succeed, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to get out of your comfort zone. Those words that were told to me in my early 20s that I really didn't catch because I was young and in my early 20s and probably had a lot of other things on my mind. I just wasn't mature enough to really embrace what that man told me decades ago until it came back to me. It came back to me in our Financial Freedom Seminar when Dale Walmsley said, what gets in the way of a great life? A good life. And it came crashing back. And that's right. Many folks just don't want to step out of that good life. They don't want to embrace that bit of chaos. This deal should cash flow at X. This property should be worth this much after repaired value. But there's always these words, should, may, might. And that's why we have to do our education and our homework and choose the right product in order to what? Establish that bit of order in that chaotic point of our life. Establish that bit of order in it. Again, do I know that every deal I engage in is going to be a slam dunk, no-brainer, guaranteed return? No. That's that chaos. But I mitigate that return with research, evaluation, education, talking to others, and repetition. I do it over and over. My name's Mike Harrison. I want you to remember one thing. It's not the money, it's the lifestyle. See you next week, and make it a great day.
The information and opinions you hear on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show are those of the hosts, guests, and callers. The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented